Yeah, it started.
You didn't get the message,
It started now. You can start it.
but I didn't get the recording in progress message.
No, no, I'm recording it on my screen, sir. In mobile, you can't record it internally on Zoom. So I'm recording it on my screen and I'll post it to you.
Okay, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. This is the next episode of uh, uh, our ambitious project. That is me and Stella's project to explicate the whole of Walden by Henry David Thoreau. So we completed a part of the chapter, and uh, now we're continuing from the previous episode. So the edition of Walden, the PDF copy available on Google. If you type Walden PDF, the edition is the WordPress edition, and we are on page 10. We are on page 10 of the WordPress edition of Walden, and we are in the middle of the second paragraph. The previous episode stopped uh, um, in the middle of the paragraph, so we'll continue from the middle of the
ಏರ್ಟೆಲ್
paragraph.
ದಿವಾಲಿ ಆಫರು
So,
249ಗೆ
to
ಫ್ರೀ
find the
90
sentence
ಡೇಸ್ ರೀಚಾರ್ಜ್
beginning with,
ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ.
old people did not know enough once,
ಅಲ್ಲ,
perchance,
ಏರ್ಟೆಲ್
to
ದಿವಾಲಿ
fetch
ಆಫರು
fresh fuel
249ಗೆ
to keep
28
the
ಡೇಸ್
fire
ಬರುತ್ತೆ
going.
ಬೇರೆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು 90 ಡೇಸ್
So,
ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು
this is in the
ನಾಲ್ಕು
middle of the paragraph. I'll read the sentence
ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ
again. Old
ಜಾಸ್ತಿ
people did not
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ
know
ರುಜು.
enough once, perchance, to fetch fresh fuel to keep the fire going.
ರುಜು
So,
ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ
old
ತಿನ್ಕೊಂಡು.
people here refers to the really old people, around the time when fire was invented. Uh, a few cavemen rubbed a couple of sticks together and lit some
ನೀನ್ ಬೇಡ್ವಾ?
dry grass, and that started a fire. And since then, we've
ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
enjoyed the benefits of fire, like cooking and combustion and so on and so forth. So, but when fire was invented, these old people did not know enough once to fetch fetch fresh fuel to keep it going. They did not know that they must keep the fire blazing with some addition of either grass, wood, or something like that. New people put a little dry wood under a pot and are whirled round the globe with the speed of birds, in a way to kill old people, as the phrase is. But the new people, the people of Thoreau's time, many, many, many generations later, after the discovery of fire, many, many generations later, the new people, what do? They put a little dry wood under a pot. That is, here we're talking about the steam engine, where, the boiler of the steam engine is run on burning wood. So they put a little dry wood under a pot and are whirled round the globe with the speed of birds. So they go right around the globe in the trains, the cars of the trains, and this is done with the speed of birds. They travel as swiftly as birds flying in the air. And this new discovery, new invention of the present generation, it is done in a way to kill old people, as a phrase. So all the discoveries, all the efforts of the older generation have been superseded, have been surpassed by the younger generation, right? So, as you may remember, if you listened to the previous episode, here is talking about, how older generations tell the younger generation that they cannot try this or that, whatever interests them, and the newer generation tries what it can to do what it can, and they are pretty successful in spite of the remonstrations, in spite of the the warnings of the older generation. So that is a context in which the sentence is placed. So Thoreau continues, age is no better, hardly so well qualified for an instructor as youth, for it has not profited so much as it has lost. So, here Thoreau is saying that aged people, older people, okay, they instruct the youth, okay, they instruct the younger generation, they instruct the young people. But even though the person may be older, even though the common notion is that the older people have a lot of wisdom and we should pay attention to the words of the older generation, Thoreau here says that the older generation is not better, it is not as qualified as an instructor as youth. So, sometimes it may happen that the good advice given by a friend of ours, right? The good advice given by a friend of ours may, point us in the right direction about what we should do. So the older generation commonly warns or it commonly says you cannot do this or that. But a friend of ours, a youth who advises us, is more qualified to give us advice than the older generation, right? Because Thoreau here says the older generations are speaking from experience, right? So older generation is speaking from experience. That is, they have, failed in what they have tried to do. Experience means mostly they have failed to do whatever they have tried to do. So, age is not better. It is not qualified well for an instructor as youth because the older generation is not profiting. Older generation has not made as many profits as much as it has lost. So commonly, if you examine the lives of the older generation, you'll find that the losses outweigh the profits, right? So Thoreau generalizes the situation. He says, one may almost doubt if the wisest man has learned anything of absolute value by living. So Thoreau was a very well-read, philosopher, right? And he had read the classics in his university courses in Harvard. He had read many of the great books of his time, right from those of the ancient Greeks right down to modern times. He had read most of the literature on, many of the topics that interested him. And he was what is called an omnivorous reader. An omnivorous reader reads about not just one subject or two subjects, but practically any subject that catches his interest. So Thoreau was an omnivorous reader, and he said from his reading, he comes to this conclusion: the wisest man has not learned anything of absolute value by living. By absolute value, we mean that no rules, no principle, nothing is of absolute value. That is, no rule or no principle applies to all mankind all the time. Of course, at one point of time, we says, even the wisest man, Thoreau doubts if the wisest man has learned anything of absolute value by living. So essentially, what Thoreau is saying is that the advice of the older generation may not be relevant, right? Um, and that's what Thoreau says in as many words next. He says, practically, the old have no very important advice to give to the young. Practically, something that is useful, right? Practically, the old have no very important advice to give the young. Their own experience has been so partial and their lives have been such miserable failures for private reasons as they must believe. So practically, the old people cannot give any important advice to the young because the experience of the older people has been so partial. Means it is not, a complete experience. It's a partial experience. And what has happened in the lives of many of the older generation is that their lives have been such miserable failures, right? And the older generation believe that these failures in their lives must be for private reasons. That is, there must be for some fault of theirs. Okay, there must be some fault either in them or in others or some such reason. They must believe that their lives have been such miserable failures for private reasons. Hmm? But still, how do they continue to, exist? It may be, says Thoreau, it may be that they have some faith